Hi guys, welcome. It's EJ. Got my girl Brianna here. She said she wanted to tell me something crazy. What's going on?
Well, so you're calling me Bree. Now we're on like a friendship basis
absolutely.
here. Okay, I went to Starbucks the other day, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm getting a drink, and I was like, okay, Bree, like for my name. They put Bray on my cup.
Bray?
Bray.
How did they come up
Bree
with that?
with the E, and then they got the A, and I was just like. And then they called out the pastries, the drinks. I got like 6 drinks and pastries, and then the whole time I was standing there, I'm like, this is not for me. This is not mine.
And sure enough, it's yours.
It was, yeah.
You know what's funny? I had somebody that worked at Starbucks on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, do you guys spell names wrong on purpose?
I think they do.
She was like, no, it's just because they just... you're trying to be creative in how you spell it. In reality, they just don't know. They're just writing stuff down.
One time,
Tell me.
I got Rihanna, though.
Rihanna?
I was not mad about that.
I would have took that and
I
ran with
took it and I was like, that is my cup. Thank you. But
Bree, I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you.
For another edition of Next Up. By the way, you're from Philly.
Yes.
We've already established that. I want you to let your Philly accent just come on out, okay? You are in a safe place right here.
Okay.
Just whatever comes out, just let it come on out.
All right.
So I was watching this interview when you were saying that you were singing before you were talking.
I literally was. Like, I don't know what is wrong with me and my connection with music, but, like, it was just this thing of, like, I have insomnia to this day, but, like, the one way my mom would always get me to sleep as a kid was putting me in the car and turning the music all the way up. No.
Sorry, Mom.
No. She would turn the music all the way up in the car and just drive around the neighborhood until I fell asleep. And that was literally the only way. So it's like from a young age, I just always had this connection with music. And I literally was singing before I could even talk.
You know what's interesting? Growing up, I remember the songs that my mother used to play, but not necessarily like remember like where we were, but I can remember the songs. Is that the same with you?
Yeah, like I'll hear songs and I'll be like, oh, that reminds me of that time when I was this age. And I'm like, but where did I hear that? And then it all
It's
kind
mama
of
driving around trying to get you to go to sleep.
Yo, like My Little Teacup, I had that on cassette. I swear, like back when they still had cassettes in cars, I would literally I would put it in My Little Teacup and I'd be in the back, like,
just rocking,
dancing
with
along.
it
Yeah.
on the school.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What else do you remember? Like, what other songs do you remember?
Honestly, I grew up, so my family played a lot of Motown and doo-wop. I mean, I'm from Philly, so it's like a given. But like, I grew up on like Otis Redding, Sam Cooke,
A lot of sound
Bill
of
Withers,
Philadelphia.
Aretha. Like, I grew up on a lot of just like old school soul music, and like I don't know, like songs for me. Like I was 5 years old singing "Chain of Fools" in bars, so that for me is like a song that like it will always be special to me because it was one of the first songs I ever performed in front of people. Mm-hmm. But like I would say songs like that have really identified with me.
As a young child, are you super nervous when you're performing in front of people? Or do you not know? You're just out there performing, you know what I'm saying?
So I do this thing where I kind of black out. Because like I'm very, very shy for the most part. I can be extroverted, like I know how to. It's just like I want to be shy. I like being quiet. I like observing.
Absolutely.
I was always that way as a kid. So I would walk on a stage, and for the longest time, I would literally stand there and sing like this, and I would be mumbling into the mic, and people were just like, "What is wrong with? Why isn't she singing?" And then I performed at the Apollo when I was about 12 years old, and I fully blacked out. Like I don't remember anything that I did, but
you don't?
I don't remember anything. And then I came to, and at the end, like the whole crowd was giving me a standing ovation, and I was like, "What did I just do?" And my stomach's like, because before I walked out, I was really nervous.
Did you rub the tree?
I did.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the last thing I remember, though.
Okay.
I touched the little tree. I walk out, and I'm like, whoop. Like, all I remember are faces. I don't know what I sang, if I sang the right words, I don't remember anything. And then it was just like.
To this day, do you still not know? Do you still not remember what you sung?
No, and that's the same thing that happens every time I go on a stage. So I'll be super, super nervous. My stomach will be going crazy, and then I'll walk out on the stage, and I literally will just black out and not remember anything.
Does mom remember? Was she
there?
she'll
take videos. She'll be like, "Did you see what you did?" And I'm like, I don't know.
That's so funny.
It's the craziest thing, and I get so nervous. Like you could literally ask my mom, like before she's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." And I get so nervous, but when I'm on stage, it's like this thing just clicks, and I kind of like step out of my head and just let my body take over.
I wonder why so nervous. Why do you get so nervous?
I think it's just like the same thing of like people speaking in a classroom. Like it's just like, yeah, you talk all the time, but it's like to do it in front of people in a way that they're going to like critique you for it is it's a little different. It's like, oh, well, are they going to like it? Are they going to, be happy when they leave? And then it kind of just became this thing for me of like, as long as I made somebody feel something, I'm happy. Like whether you cried, whether you smiled, whether you hated me, whether you laughed.
As long as you evoke an emotion.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times in like today's world, people try to like shut down emotions or how they feel, and because they feel like it's the easier thing to do. But I feel like the best artists are the ones that can pull it out of you without making you feel like you did something wrong.
Absolutely.
So as long as I do that, that's cool with me.
I tell people all the time, go through those emotions.
Yes.
That's why you have those emotions. Like when people are trying to shut down and be like, I don't care either way, but in reality, you care.
Well, and the thing is, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I'm very not emotional. Like on my day to day, like I'm very like
stoic.
Yeah, I don't express a lot of like happiness. Well, happy, yeah, I guess, but like sad or like mad or angry, any of those things, I kind of just like whoop, shut down, and I'll just let it boil in my head, and then I go into the studio and I'll like write my heart out until I figured out that emotion or how I was feeling. So for me, it's like music was always that thing that could provoke emotion in me in a way that I felt safe, but I also felt uncomfortable, and that's
because
the best
it
thing.
was. You're just putting yourself out there?
Yeah, it was vulnerability. And whether it was like my songs or somebody else's, like Aretha Franklin, like I would be singing Chain of Fools. 5 years old, I don't know what Chain of Fools is about, but I found a way to relate it to me and get that pain out and get that emotion out. And that was why I listened to Aretha Franklin so much growing up, because she just had this pain and this emotion in her voice that in any song you ever heard her in, you felt it.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, it's just a feeling.
Song like Rocksteady,
yes.
And you'll hear it.
And you're hearing pain. You're hearing emotion. And it's,
absolutely.
That was the one thing for me that like I always felt like I could do with music. So when I black out and those things happen, like I literally like I just don't remember anything, and it's just those emotions pour out of me. And then afterwards I'm like, okay, cool. And then something happened and I'm like, I need to sing again.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That you completely black out when you're on stage.
I just remember faces. That's all. Like I will literally only remember like people's faces in the audience, which is the craziest part. Like I literally only remember how I make people feel. But that's the only thing that matters to me when I perform. So
right,
it's
because
like,
most of the time when you're performing, I tell people this, like when you're on stage doing something, you can't see anyone. Like even looking out here, you can barely see people's faces. So imagine like a crowd and stuff like that. Like you'll just see shadows, which I'm sure makes it easier when you're up there performing.
A little bit. Like I feel like I found it's harder to perform in front of a smaller crowd than it is.
Because they're all peering into your soul right now.
Well, there's very few eyes, so it's like anything you do will be caught. Whereas when it's a bigger crowd and a bigger audience, it's like not everything's so under the microscope. But
what's your favorite part about performing?
Honestly, I would just say making people feel something. Like for me, like the action of singing and the action of performing or playing or dancing, any of those things, like for me, just getting to do that is enough for me. But like the reason I do it is to like help people. I don't know, because music for me
get through something.
Yeah, music for me was the type of thing of like, you know, like no matter what I went through in my life or the things that I had faced, music was the one thing that always allowed me to escape, but escape within my reality. And that's what I want to give to people.
Wow.
It's that thing of like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just that thing of like, you know, when you hear a song and you know every word and you can sing every single line, it's like, that's when you know it really connects with you. But it also doesn't make you feel bad about yourself in any way, shape, or form. Like it just makes you feel like you got it out. And it's like, I want to provide that escape within somebody's reality.
Absolutely. Wow. So, that's, you know what's funny? As you were sitting there explaining it, I was like, good, this is really deep. I didn't think that we were going to go to this. Is like a therapy deep. Like just that one question took you there, and the passion that you have for the music is insane.
But that's how deep it starts with me. Like it was just one of those things that I always just had that connection with, and it had that type of a satisfaction for me.
What did you think your mom realized you knew how to sing? At what age?
That's a great question. I think my family was a little biased. A little bit.
What, like just, well, look, my baby can sing. Watch her sing, like that? Or that you couldn't sing?
I don't think it was even that I couldn't sing. I think it was more just like, I'm going to let her do her thing. Like, if this is what she wants. Because my whole family is very athletic.
Okay.
I'm like the one that was like, Mom, can I have a vocal lesson at 5 years old? And she's like, I don't even know what that is.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then, you know, I started doing it. And she was like, oh, well, Bree, go sing. Go do this. And, you know, she would kind of like promote it. But it was never to the point where like, look at my kid. She's better than... It was never, ever like that. My mom always just kind of like let me take control. Because music was the one thing that like I just always had like control of. And I always knew everything about it that I wanted to, at least. And then, you know, she would just kind of just let me do my thing. Yeah.
So did you take voice lessons?
Yeah, I started when I was about 5, and the woman that I started with, her name is Cindy. She was the woman who brought me around town singing in all the bars around Philly, because she and her husband have a band. So she would literally bring me up in the middle of their set.
Yes. At the bar. in North Philly somewhere.
She would bring me up and she would just let me sing, and I would just, do my thing, and then she'd be like, all right, time to go home.
So were the people, of course you're at the bar, people are boozed up. 5-year-old is on stage performing. What was their reaction?
Honestly, it was so funny. Like, it was so humorous because you would get some people that were like sobbing their eyes out, like, oh my God, she's so cute. And then you get other people that are like, oh my God, who's this
5-year-old's doing this?
And then you get other people that are like, why is there a 5-year-old on the stage? So it's like, you literally got so many different types of reactions. But it's back to my thing. I love seeing all of those reactions. And it was something cool because, after I perform, you'd get all these people coming up to you like, oh, good job. Or you shouldn't be in a bar. You're 5. And then I'm like,
don't tell me what to do.
I don't care.
I run this. Right, absolutely.
Exactly.
Anything to cultivate, what I want to do with
passion,
my life.
Yeah.
Let's rewind back to the Apollo right quick.
Yeah.
So how did you even get the opportunity to perform on stage?
Okay, so the craziest thing was Cindy, the woman that I, did a lot of my
vocal
music
coach.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
She was like, you need to audition. And I was like, I don't know if I can. Like, it's the Apollo. Like, then I'm thinking about
Aretha performed there. Kids at Apollo.
Lauryn Hill.
Right, and you know what's funny? Because when you were telling me how you were mumbling and you blacked out, because remember they initially booed Lauryn Hill.
They did.
Because she wasn't close to the mic and they couldn't hear what she was singing. So I immediately thought about that, and I'm so glad that didn't happen to you.
And I was terrified because she's one of my favorite artists. Like, growing up, I listened to her all the time. So I was like, yo, if Lauryn, what's gonna happen to me? And I was like, I don't think I can. But I went to the audition anyways. So I went with my mom and Cindy.
Was this Showtime at the Apollo on TV?
This was amateur night.
Get out of here.
Yes, this was amateur night at the Apollo. Yes.
What year was this?
2012, I believe.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
And so I ended up going, and I went to the audition. I was like, I'm not going to hear anything from them. Like, they bring everybody in this room. They're like, sing. I sang my little audition piece, and then I think it was maybe like a day later they had called, and they were like, we want you to perform an amateur night. And I was like, there's no way.
I would have peed my pants.
Yo, my stomach dropped to my, literal the floor.
To your lower half.
Like, it just, my stomach just dropped. And I was like, it's a joke. And then it wasn't. And I ended up going and performing. I performed there, I believe it was 3 times. And it was just, the reaction every time was great. And I had a blast. Again, like I said, it was the first time that I'd ever gone to that place on a stage before because I'd always been super shy. And
amateur night
pulled me out.
The original. I feel like people don't understand, but I feel like Apollo and Amateur Night was the original American Idol, and you got instant feedback from the audience because they were on stage,
they were
literally booing you off and doing hand gestures too, booing you off the stage.
Honest. And I used to watch those videos all the time growing up because my favorite artists would perform at the Apollo. So it's like I would watch that and I'd be like, yo, these are some genuine reactions, and I didn't know what to expect.
Wow. So let's talk about you getting the attention of Reid. How did that happen?
Okay, so the craziest thing is I was doing some stuff for Disney at the time.
Okay.
They had brought back the Mickey Mouse Club from the 90s, and I was doing some stuff for that. I had done season 1, and in between that time, my manager, Brandon, was like, yo, we're going to meet with LA, and I was like, what? I was freaking out because I had always respected him, and I'd always seen, all the artists that, So I was so excited. So I ended up going to LA's house, meeting with him there, and sat down on his beautiful piano, and I played probably like 6 songs. And then after that, it was just kind of like, hicco. So it moved so quickly after that.
As you were wrapping up your last song, playing on his piano, what did you say? So what's up, bruh? What did you say?
No, I did walk in though. I was like, "Yo, what's good?" He was like, "What?"
Now this is what you get.
But I'm Philly. That's how I am. It's really I'm myself in any room I walk into. So I think he definitely appreciated that. No, after my last song, he was like, what do you want? And I'm like, this.
I want to be signed.
I just want to make music that's gonna change people and for the better in a positive way, like my idols did for me. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of a conversation of like, you get it. This is it.
Please don't ever change. Like, you have to be you. Always. Don't go Hollywood.
I've been in LA 5 years and it still hasn't affected
me. Please.
It's so bad. Everybody's like,
next time you come back, we gone.
No, I swear, I'm all my friends reality check. Like, they'll all come to me and they're like, have I changed? Have I gone Hollywood? And I'm like, Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, but how are you not doing it? And I'm like, I just don't. It just goes over my head.
Don't get wrapped up in it.
It's not worth it.
Before you go, let's do some quick would you rather questions. Can we do that right quick?
Yes,
I promise
okay.
they're easy.
Okay.
Would you rather be stuck on a broken ski lift or in a broken elevator?
I'm absolutely terrified of elevators.
Me too.
I go in them, but I'm absolutely terrified of them. I've never been skiing, so I'm going to go with the ski lift because I don't really know what that experience is like.
For some reason, I feel like that would be scarier because you're not, like, you're just out in the open.
Yeah,
just
but
swinging.
like, think if you fall off the ski lift, it's like you're falling into snow. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, but it's like still a lot better than falling 24 floors and just like breaking both your legs.
Okay.
You know,
We'll revisit this.
I don't know.
Would you rather get rich through hard work or winning the lottery?
Hard work.
Listen, money is money. Let's get.
Well, for me, it's like money is just one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's there, but it's
Right.
like I don't do anything for the money. It's like I do it for the satisfaction of, again, people. So it's like I would just go with the hard work because at least I did something and I wasn't just, like scratching off it.
You're amazing. All right. Would you rather take a look at your mom or dad's internet history? Okay, your mother has her hand over her mouth, so I don't know what's going on
to
or what
be honest,
she's looking at.
My mom's internet search history is really just me.
Oh, okay. She Googles you. That's
Yeah,
nice.
well, because I'm always on her phone. I'm like, can I just search something? And then she'll
laptop.
she'll be looking into stuff, and she's like, oh, this is. She sends me clothes and things. So I feel like my mom's would be a little bit interesting because I probably find like some cute shirts or something.
I love how moms like just root for you.
Oh, my mom is ride or die.
Look at her. She has her phone out.
She's the best. She's literally the best.
We're gonna see this video on YouTube later on. Would you rather always get stuck in traffic or have really, really slow internet connection?
I think for me, I'd rather have slow internet connection just because I would always rather be moving. Even if it takes me longer to get there, I'd rather always be moving rather than sitting in traffic. So like I'll avoid the highways and go all the way through the mail,
100%.
like all of that. It's not worth it to me.
That's why I take Waze out in LA because you
But
have
sometimes
to,
Waze tries to make you take these crazy turns. Like you'll be pulling up and it's like turn left and you're like, there's literally moving traffic going both ways.
And I hate left turns in LA. The worst.
They don't happen. They don't exist. You have to go right and then make a U-turn, and then it's like, I
You
hope nobody's looking.
You have to do one of those, which before we go, I've never lived in a place where so many people do the LA U-turn. I've been almost hit so many times where people just like randomly bust a U-turn in the middle of the street.
You know what I'm not used to, though? People fully stopping at stop signs. I know that sounds really bad because I'm a driver.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm so used to the South
We
Philly
rolled
slide.
through. Yeah, we
just,
rolled through it.
You low-key roll through the Everybody makes a full stop, and their brake lights come on, and you're sitting there for, like, 45 seconds, and you're like,
Well, here, what they do is, what irritates me, they go through the stop sign. So it looks like that they're not stopping, and then they get out there.
And then they stop in the middle.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
All right, quick round questions. Dream collaboration.
Ooh, I always wanted to do what Amy Winehouse did with Tony. How they did, like, it was like her idol and her, and I feel like I would love to do something like that with one of my idols, like Beyonce or something. I don't know. I just feel like something like that would be really cool because it'd be like a perspective. It would be cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Where do you see yourself as an artist in 10 years?
10 years. Hopefully doing some world tour, stadium tour,
Something like that.
Something.
I feel you. Favorite thing to do when you're not working?
I love baking.
That's a good thing.
It is, but it isn't because I could literally eat all of it. Like I'll make cookie dough at 2 a.m. and I'll eat the whole thing by myself.
But are you happy?
Oh, so happy.
That's all that matters.
And then I go dance the next day and I'm like, I'm going to dance off that cookie dough so I can eat it again tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, you work too hard to be not eating that cookie dough.
That's exactly what I say.
I'm saying, though.
You got to be happy,
If you can say one thing to everybody that supports you, what would it be? In that camera. Well, never mind.
Thank you. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, I hope that, I'm doing something for them as much as they think that, as much as they do for me, I hope that I do that much for them.
Bri, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. I'm glad I could.
appreciate it.
I'm glad.
Thank you.